Yalla, should be learning B'Simcha this week. B'Zrat Hashem. Should be learning B'Simcha without any fears. Just with Simcha. The month of Elul is sponsored Leilui Nishmat Bani Silver Bas Yofega Bas Yisrael. Leilui Nishmat Avram Chai Ben Yosef Shimon, and for the Refuah Shlema of Moshe Asher Ben Malka and Leah Rocha Bat Chaya. This week is sponsored by Chavi and Hershey's faith in memory of Chavi's great-grandmother, as Yotzit was last week, Miriam Bas Elchanan Levi, in memory of Chavi's grandfather, Menachem Ben Yonah, and we should both have Neshama Shadav and Aliyah. And Be'ezrat Hashem, there should be no Hamas supporters allowed back into Efrat this week or ever. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. Okay, so with this, there's so much to say after last week's shiur, and so much to speak about this coming shiur. I'm just going to remind everyone briefly what we were talking about last week, because it's very important. We began to learn a whole series on what does it mean to understand what Mashiach coming into the world means. What does it mean that we're davening for Mashiach to come? And how has it been unfolding all these years? And specifically, we were speaking about last week, about looking at everything that Chazal said, about what they were predicting what today would look like for thousands of years. And we gave all these different examples about what's happening in the world, what's happening in families, what's happening in individuals, what's happening to everybody. And Chazal showed us, we were just looking at everything that Chazal have told us and said, this is mamish exactly what we're living in. Like everything we're living in adds up, besides the whole question of that people are wondering, did Geula already begin or not? That's the question. That's like the philosophical / Zionist versus Hasidic question of, did we already enter the actual shlav of Geula? Did it happen already? Like what, in Bnei Akiva terminology, we were told we already are in Atchalta de Geula, the beginning of the Geula. And then those schools of thought that are much more connected to the world of Lubavitch, for instance, is like everything's Atchalta de Geula for the beginning of the creation of the world. Don't say that we're actually entered into that period itself, because certain criterias, mainly from how we understand it from the Rambam, have not taken place yet in order for you to call this situation that we're in now Atchalta de Geula. But forget about that, because then you just get lost. You get lost in Dvarim Shem Lo Kshurim. The bottom line of this shiur is to understand what does it mean to daven for Mashiach to come, and definitely what it doesn't mean that davening for Mashiach to come. That's just as important. And I'll give you one example, one very I guess disheartening example. One time I was at a Shabbaton for I think it was high school students that wanted to be engaged by a more cooler rabbi. So they brought in a rabbi that basically tried to prove them something in a very weird way. And he asked all of them, he said, how many of you daven for the Mashiach to come? And everyone raised their hand. And then the rabbi said, but you realize, and this just shows you I'm dating myself, do you realize there'll be no AOL Messenger? Actually, I remember that very clearly. Is there anyone here that doesn't know what that is? What that is? AOL? Does everyone here have that? What was it? AIM. Yeah. Did you realize there would be no AOL Messenger back then? Necessarily. Ki'ilu, trying to show us you're not going to have all the things that you have now, as if we're supposed to have. That's going to make us get more excited. What's the point of that exactly? What's the point of that? What today we're going to be looking into is, from this Rav Menachem brother, we're going to be looking into is to understand what it is you're really davening for when you're davening for Mashiach to come. And last week, what we saw so beautifully was oh my God, he wrote this 35 years ago. He could have written it last week. Today we're going to see it differently. Today we're going to see he probably would not have written this exactly the same if he would have if this would have been written last week. And you'll see exactly when we hit it, exactly when it is. So there's a part of me you should know that while we're learning things like this, I have this voice inside of me that always says to me like, מה זה משנה שכבר יבוא ואז נתמודד, right? Like the voice says inside, what does it matter? Who cares about all these things? Let Mashiach just come, and then we'll figure everything out once Mashiach comes. But there is another voice that says, learning about what we're davening for and the period that we're in will help us be aligned with the time that we're in right now, and we will feel healthier. We will feel, if there's even possible to say such words, we will actually feel a shtickle normal. But we will feel healthier, aligned with the times that we're in right now, if we're learning about what it is we are praying for, what we're davening for, and not just leaving it to be like, okay, she'iyeh, like let it just be. We're actually davening for. The more you learn about what you're davening for, the closer you are to what you're davening for as well. So with that intro, that's what we're going to be learning today, meaning longing for Mashiach to come. What is it that we're longing for? Are we just longing for a world that doesn't have the equivalent of today's AOL? Like, what is it exactly that we are looking forward to? And I think we'll actually be shocked about one specific nikuda that I'm very excited to learn with everyone today. If it gets cold, people are cold, just turn it off, turn it down, whatever, whoever wants to be in charge of that. I'm fine, I don't care. Okay. Okay, should be enough today. I made a lot of copies. Just a side note, encourage your husbands to join the Chabura tomorrow. We have a really special morning for the men's Chabura out in the desert. Hershey was working on this for a while, a few of the Chevra. It's going to be very special. Encourage your husbands. It'll be very healthy. You'll be thankful, trust me. You'll be thankful when they come home with the air. This is for the man. And tomorrow morning, you could send me a message. I'll send you a private message on the men's Chabura. Okay. הציפייה לימות המשיח, למה, not למה, למה בדיוק מצפים. I think it'd be safe to say that if we went around the room right now and I asked you all to not sound smart, but just tell me what do you usually visualize when you think of Mashiach coming, most people would say just peace and prosperity, meaning we'd be done with this. Like that. That's really what most of us, think of when we say Mashiach. Like whatever, it won't be this. What's Mashiach gonna? What does it mean? What does it look like when Mashiach says, whatever it is, ze lo yeh kacha. It won't be like this. But it's much more than that. We're going to learn what it is that we're actually, when we ki lishuatcha kivinu, all these things in davening, we're going to understand a bit better what it is that we are actually hoping for. הציפייה לימות המשיח אינה רק כדי שניגמל לתמיד מן מלחמות. This is very, very, very important, that this looking forward to Mashiach coming is not just so that once and forever, nigamel. Nigamel in Hebrew, it's like gemilah. You know what gemilah means? It's like when you're detoxed, yeah. What's the other word you said? Weaned. It's not just we're weaned off of war. Zel. We're weaned off. We got that out of our system. Now it's just shalom. It's not just that. Uchdei שנזכה לשפע רב וכל טוב, and we'll just live like kings and queens. He says, Rabbi Brad says, don't get me wrong, ימות המשיח יהיו בהחלט ימים נפלאים, there'll be great days, that'll be part of it. אך לא רק לשם כך אנו מייחלים לגאולה. But it's not just for that we long for geula. So this is, I think, in the context of history, when was the last time that we as a people felt that maybe Geula happened? We're just not sure. But it seemed like Geula happened already. When do you think, historically speaking, we ever felt like that? Does anyone know? What's that? They did? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking back then. They just thought he was Mashiach.
Well, then that would mean the Geula was
So
coming.
let's remove the figure for a second. Let's talk about the...
They thought it couldn't get worse.
So So I'm talking about when was the last time we actually lived in a warless prosperity.
Oh, Warless Prosperity?
Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech, right? Probably. That's the last time. Yeah, so a few years ago. It wasn't. We were never under the assumption that this may be what Chazal are talking about, or did we? Because there actually has been a voice for the last 76 years, saying maybe this is what it's all about. Like it's just about kibbutz galuyot and laat laat kim'at kim'at. Things are working out, and it seems like it's going good.
As you see, the land is responding, which is what the Nevi'im say.
And when you see the land responding, so you start to think to yourself, wait a second, this is fulfillment of prophecy. But then when you see that there's still wars going on, you start getting confused and wondering, wait a second, is the land responding and being prosperous and all these different signs? The Mashiach is coming. And listen, you would ask any of our great Babbas, our alter Babbas, that we'd show them a visual of this room right now, and you'd say, this is in Judea, this is in Eretz Yisrael. And then you'd ask one of our great-grandmothers, now you have to guess, did Mashiach come or not? I guarantee you 100% of them would say, based on this visual, yes. Think about it. 100%. Not 99%. There wouldn't be one bubby, cynical bubby. Everyone.
They thought Mashiach was coming when they brought them in the plane. I mean, this is just like looking to affirm our own desire that we want Mashiach to come. But hey,
But hey, maybe we don't understand what it actually means that Mashiach is coming. You open for that?
Yes.
I'm open for that. This year is for people that are open to the notion that maybe we don't fully understand what it means that we're davening for Mashiach to come. That's very important. It's very humbling. It's very humbling. It's it takes a lot of bittul to realize maybe something that you were so clear that you understood what you were longing for and raising your children and all these different things. Maybe, wait a second, ulai lo evanti. Maybe there's a whole other dimension that I didn't really understand. And that's okay. That's fine. That's what learning is about. That's what growth is all about. But again, be'emet, if you showed this visual to people from thousands of years, for hundreds of years, they would look at this and they'd say, 1000%, 1,000%. This means, this is it. This is it. Ma'od. Okay. האמונה, second paragraph, האמונה בביאת המשיח היא יסוד מרכזי בדת ישראל, אחד מי"ג עיקרי אמונה. כל יהודי צריך להאמין בביאת המשיח ולצפות לבואו. We know, but the Rambam tells us, in the principles of faith, believing in the coming of the Mashiach is essential. It's a foundation of our belief, of our Yiddishkeit. And every Jew has to believe and long for its coming. And not just that, anyone that davens knows that there are 6 brachas in Shmona Esrei that talk about Mashiach. 6 brachot b'tfilat Shmona Esrei oskot bevakashat ha'geula. You can start going through it in your head. I'm not going to do it now. ונשאלת השאלה, למה הנושא הזה כל כך חשוב? Why is this Inyan so important? Think about it. If we know Shmona Esrei means the number 18, and 6 of them have to do with Mashiach coming, that means a chunk of what, Chazal say, the moment of connection between a Jew and his Creator, Shmona Esrei, a chunk of it, a third of it, is dedicated solely towards this Inyan. So he wants us to make sure, let's be sure we know what we're davening for and we understand what we're asking for. Now, it may be a little bit of a letdown, but it's only in order to sharpen and make sure that we, again, like we said in the beginning, that we're aligned with the times. We're much more meduyak with what we're asking for. And I'm going to ask you at the end of the shir who wants Mashiach to come. I'm already saying now. And you'll understand why. Biat Mashiach sheyechet lichora litchum ha'atid. When we speak about Mashiach, we're obviously speaking about the future. יש בתורה נבואות רבות המתייחסות לתקופת אחרית הימים, ובכולם אנו מאמינים כמובן. When you look through Tanakh, you see so many prophecies that speak about the end of days, and we believe in all of them, כמובן, of course, ועם זאת. But with this, בנושא ביאת המשיח, when it comes to Mashiach coming, נדרשת מאיתנו אמונה עמוקה יותר. We need a deeper level of faith, a deeper level of emunah. Zot omeret, and connecting to what Zahava said in the beginning, when you see a prophecy come true in front of your eyes, You don't need emunah that Mashiach is coming. Why?
You're living it.
You're living it. When you see something, you don't have to believe it. You understand? Like if I see, do I have to believe that there's a blue tablecloth on? No. Do I have to believe we're sitting and learning Torah on a Sunday morning? And I don't have to believe these things. Because, and now are these, I don't know about the tablecloth, but sitting and learning Torah in Efrat, a bunch of women on a Sunday morning learning about Geula, could I probably find how that's shtickle prophecy coming true? Probably. Do I have to believe in those type of prophecies? No, because they're happening in front of me. But believing that the concept called Mashiach and the Geula Shlema, I still need to have a deeper level of faith that what we're seeing right now is just a, what do you call it? Is just a preview. What was, when you went to the movies, what are those things in the beginning called? Coming attractions, right? Trailers? Coming attractions, yeah. Previews, right. Like this is all just a preview. To what? That's the thing. That's what we're going to be discussing over here. And you need a much deeper level of faith, he's saying, about the full picture than regarding seeing the things that are happening in front of you. You need a lot more. Something much more concrete. It's much more concrete than what it is. So we're in the third paragraph, in the middle of the third line. When we say we need a deeper level of faith, we need a tzipiyah yom yomit. Every day has to be filled with anticipation of coming. Tfilah matmedet, constant davening over it. Ve'hargasha shebiladea en chayenu chayim. This is the hardest one. Does anyone feel that without Mashiach coming, I'm not really alive?
Yeah.
Good.
How is that a question?
Wow. Yeah, bamash wow.
It's a question to me. I'm sorry, I'll be the person.
Good. Now we're being raw.
I want Mashiach, but I don't feel like I'm not alive. I feel like I'm alive. In fact, I'm a little bit afraid of Mashiach coming that we'll be a little less alive because everything will be so obvious. We have a lot of work to do. And if Mashiach would come today, what would it mean? Today we're alive because of the work that we have to do, the teaching we have to do for Hashem. I worry about Mashiach coming.
No, Malka, thank you. Stop being so shy. That's first of all. Second of all, thank you for not being shy. But be'emet, both are true. You have to understand. Both voices here are true. Zot omeret mitzad echad, who here actually really feels that this is the full extent of what God had in mind when he gave us life, living in such a situation like we're in right now, with so much uncertainty and so much fear. That's not life. On the other hand, if you understood a little bit more what it means that Mashiach is coming, I don't know how much you'd be so quick to daven Shmona Esrei. That's what we're trying to figure out over here in this year. Because Malka's also right. Do you understand what it means that all mechitzas are removed and living in this state of the clarity that Mashiach brings to the world? So I just want to say one thing before we go back inside. Like we said in the beginning of Shir, Malka, let it happen, and then let's just pray and hope and trust that Hashem will give us the necessary kelim to deal with it. Because I'm not going to wait till I have the proper kli for Mashiach to come to actually daven for Mashiach to come. Okay. What? We'll never have, meaning, no, but there is a school of thought that says like that about Eretz Yisrael. Until you have the proper lens and kli to absorb Kedushat Eretz Yisrael, what do you think you're messing with building a country here? That voice sometimes rings very true because of the wonderful oneness and and harmony that you feel in the country that we built over here right now. But on the other hand, if we keep on waiting, Auschwitz was a preview. Auschwitz was a preview. So we know that we're somewhere in the middle here and we're trying to make sense of it all. But this is why these topics are very important for us to put on the table. And I encourage you, sometimes you won't say what Esty and Mindy said because you're nervous to sound so holy. But they didn't say that because they're sounding holy. It's coming from a place of pain, of saying life is not life until Mashiach comes. And sometimes you'll be nervous to say what Malka is saying because you don't want to sound so What's the right word? Not ma'amina. Ki'ilu. No, ki'ilu. Exact bidiyuk, but because we don't want to put it like this. Whenever I've asked a question in any shir, I always tell the students the wrong answer is the one that you think I want to hear. That's the wrong answer. Whatever you're going to tell me, if you're saying it because you think I want to hear it, that's the wrong answer. So the same should be true bichlal in front of all of us over here. We're here to deal with real things, and davening for tzipya v'yemot Mashiach is as real as it gets, and yoter real mizah. There's no more real than this stuff. הדבר דורש ביור, bottom of the third paragraph. וכי אין יהודי יכול לעסוק בתורה ובמצוות ולעבוד את קונו גם מימינו, שהוא נדרש לצפות כל כך לביאת המשיח. What, I can't serve God? I can't be fully immersed in a life of learning Torah and keeping mitzvahs and serving God in our days as well? That I have to long for something more to come out? Bemet? Is that really what this is about? And the question gets even more charif. Look at the next paragraph. השאלה מחריפה ככל שמציאות החיים הקיימת מאפשרת לנו להגיע לחיי יהדות שלמים יותר. This question gets more complicated the more that Judaism and acting in a Jewish manner and leading a Jewish life becomes more and more accessible. Okay, I'm going to try to explain what he's saying over here. What's that?
Living that.
We're very much living that. Zotomeret, the less you had probably brought about the need for you to want Mashiach more, because what did it resemble? Like the world of Mashiach? A completion of all the things that I wanted. Like what? Knowing how to serve God, living a Jewish life, feeling Jewish, having what I need, v'chulei, and v'chulei, v'chulei, v'chulei. What's really, besides Yishmaelim surrounding us, which I'm not belittling for a second, what's really lacking in our Yiddishkeit, in the life that we know to be a fulfilled, godly, religious life? Anything?
You want to hear Ben HaMikdash?
I'm not... I just told you that the wrong question is what I want to hear.
No, but that's what I want
Great,
to say.
don't be embarrassed. Then say it. then it's achdut. Achdut. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to rephrase it. I'm going to not make the mistake I just made. I'm going to let him finish the paragraph to make it clearer, because he's saying it in a very sharp, very clear way. השאלה מחריפה. Again, this paragraph. This question gets even more חריף. ככל שמציאות החיים הקיימת, the more that the reality that we live right now, מאפשרת לנו, enables us להגיע לחיי יהדות שלמים יותר. The more that it enables us to live a full and complete Yiddish life, these questions get more intense. For instance, ככל שיש פחות רדיפות מהגויים, the less Jew hunting takes place in the world, ככל שיש פחות הפרעות על שמירות התורה, the more that I'm able to keep Torah more in the world, ככל שיש יותר שפע ברווחה, this is for sure true, the more that there's more of more, meaning the more that there's more abundance, and we're living with more abundance than humanity has ever lived with, definitely Jewish populations ever lived with, ככל שיש יותר לומדי תורה מקיים מצוות, the more that there's more Torah learning and Torah observance, we're at that stage as well, that there's more of that than there ever was. So all these things, he says, make you feel מרגישים לכאורה פחות את הצורך במשיח שיפתור את הבעיות. What does this description cause? It causes you to feel less of a need for Mashiach to come and solve things, because a lot of these things that for thousands of years we thought if only we had that, we have. All these if-onlys have actually become true. And one of the greatest ones, obviously, is that when the Jew would daven Shmona Esrei and think about Mashiach, when he said, "V'techazena eineinu b'shulcha leTzion berachmim," that was his Mashiach moment. And then, lo and behold, hey, look, drop the pin. This is where we are. So he's saying this is what makes things even more complicated in our times, because we have so much more of all the things we once didn't have, spiritually and physically. So what's going to drive me to ask for Mashiach? Because Mashiach is the ultimate, the quintessential problem solver. in many of our minds. But most of the problems have been solved.
What problems have been solved? We have wars. We have
Wait. Shnia. I said in the beginning of Shir that there's certain things that he probably wouldn't have written this week.
Oh.
Remember? This was it. I know that these things burn up inside of us a lot of different thoughts and emotions. So we have to just look at Batuna Gdola. But I will answer your question. That even with the wars that we have, v'chule, we're still living infinitely on a more enriched life level, the way that he described it, than anything that's been until now. The confusion in the root is 100%. It used to be impossible for the illiterate Jew to get any type of education as to what it means to be a Jew. They didn't have Art Scroll, they didn't have Judaica stores, they didn't have the basic essentials that gave a person accessibility to be part of Masorah. Today, that excuse does not exist in the world. Aleph. Bet, Jews did not live in Eretz Yisrael. C. Third, Jews were hunted down everywhere in the world and tried to be killed for being Jewish. Today, it's probably just like 20% of the world. Huh? And we can defend ourselves here. You have to, it's as hard as it is, you cannot lose focus of the fact that, like, as horrible and as confusing as the situation that we're in is, ze lo karov lema shaya for thousands of years. It's not close. It's not close. This is and not recognizing it is a begam. It's a blemish. We have to recognize it. But what he's saying over here is this makes the Mashiach problem greater. Because if Mashiach was the person that was going to come and solve my issues, if 80% of my issues have more or less been solved, how does God expect me to daven stronger for Mashiach? How do I expect that for myself? Is his question clearer now? That was not convincing at all. That means we have to figure this out a bit better. What's still... Chaya, you want to say something?
I mean, there are obvious reasons why we're not there, even though we're getting closer to being there. We still need to daven.
What prevents a person from davening for those obvious reasons? Or are you saying that everyone is davening?
I think so.
What are they davening for? Is the
Be even closer to Hashem, or have to become
to daven? Oh, so this is okay. So you already are bringing us to this really to the next shlav of this shir. When I'm davening for Mashiach, what am I davening for? Well, so Chaya kind of did. What did you just say? The last thing you said. Do you remember what you said? Remind you?
all those promises, the Beit HaMikdash,
To be closer to Hashem. Chavre, what we have in front of us, I hate to belittle it, bless you, because I actually don't want to belittle it. We've been making it big. You think what this and this life and all the thing we have right now is considered close to Hashem? It may be closer than what was, but it's nothing in comparison to what a Mashiach life will be. Malchut, to be seen with our eyes, not just to be hoped in our, over here. Nachon. This is very important. Sorry?
And the Rav will be employed.
And the Rav will be employed, and I'll be right. I'm a Kohen. That's what she means, and I'll be employed. That's what's Nachon. Nachon.
I think there's just one other point that's
Yeah.
it's not really addressed in this way, but like it's a reality of our times. I think that what drives a lot of people to download Hamashiach are personal sorrows also. Like, and I think that so many people now are going through like just really difficult personal sorrow, and there's this feeling like Mashiach comes.
So davening for personal tzarot, you're not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. You're just saying that's what people are attributing the Mashiach drive.
That's what like people say.
Nachon.
What I think he's trying to say is when we had all of this, we became very complacent. And just, did the 6, did 100 on the highway.
Right.
Just get the steady course,
Right.
right? And we needed that wake-up call to remind us of what we really, truly need and want. That, it's like what Ali said, right? He was pressing on the gas and he was in neutral. So
Right.
for a long time, we were in neutral.
Right.
And now we've had, unfortunately, a very harsh wake-up call to get us back to what we need to really focus on.
Okay, I have a lot to say on it, but I'm scared it's going to take us away from a lot. Okay, so now we're going to really now we're getting to the point of this whole question of today. What are we really longing for when we say about Mashiach to come? Aside from just an end of whatever I'm suffering from right now. Because that's actually not Mashiach. Like, that's not the tefillah for Mashiach. That's just the tefillah for what they say on the radio, Shiyu Yamim Shketim Yoter, which drives me nuts. I've told you so many times. Like, that's not a tefillah for Mashiach. That's just a tefillah for, like, let's go through another quiet period.
It's another Band-Aid.
Another Band-Aid, mamash. It's another Band-Aid. Let's understand what it means when we're talking about davening for Mashiach. התשובה לשאלות אלה רמוזה במילים שבהן פותח הרמב"ם את ההלכות העוסקות במשיח. There aren't a lot of books that are written from like the Rishonim about like describing what Mashiach is going to be like. But the Rambam, we go to the Rambam, and the Rebbe definitely based how he brought it over based on what the Rambam said in Mishnah Torah to explain to us what it is we're longing for. And look what the Rambam says regarding Melech HaMashiach. המלך המשיח עתיד לעמוד ולהחזיר מלכות דוד ליושנה. לממשלה הראשונה. What is Mashiach going to do? He's going to come and restore back the monarchy, the kingdom of David, the malchut of Beit David leyoshna, meaning back to what it was. לממשלה הראשונה, to the prime government. ובונה המקדש, he will build a Beis HaMikdash. ומקבץ נדחי Yisrael, and if there's any Yidden still left in Golus, he will figure out a way to bring them home. He will have a very close working method with Rabbi Yeshua Fass from Nefesh B'Nefesh. They'll figure it out. That's a key thing of Mashiach. But then he ends over here and he says, "V'chozrin kol hamishpatim beyamav kshehayu," and all the mishpat, all the justice system, the judicial system, will all be restored to the days of the last Malchut Beit David, which for many people is the most frightening piece of Mashiach coming. Malka, I'm wondering, is that last thing sort of what you were referring to? That's not it.
That's the most comforting thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, personally, but for a chunk of Yidden, that's the most frightening thing, the end. The end. Why? Because a Yid that's not yet keeping Shabbos, or a Yid that's not yet keeping kosher, or even people that are keeping Shabbos and kosher that aren't holding the way they know they should. Wait a second, what does it mean that the mishpat comes back to the way that it was back in the time of David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech? It seems like that, right? Let's understand. Ro'in kan davar pele, Rabbi Brad brings out. כשהרמב"ם מגדיר את עניינו של המשיח, אין הוא מדבר על שינוי טבעו של עולם, ועל כל הנפלאות שעליהן מדברים בדרך כלל בקשר למשיח. Quite often people talk about Mashiach, what do they speak about? The change of nature, of living in a more miraculous flow. Miracles will be flowing down from Shemayim, beginning with the miracle of the flying magic carpet. No? You didn't grow up on that? The magic carpet? The flying carpet? Bringing everyone to Eretz Yisrael through... Yeah, no? I'm the... Really? I got a carpet, yeah. No one had carpets here? In their chinuch?
Hello, airplane? Yeah. Hello was going to bring everyone. Like on the wings of the airplane. We're all going to sit on the wings.
On the wings?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know. I had a lot of carpets. What's that? Just fly. Meaning, yeah, whatever element of magic, whatever element of Al TV was definitely attributed to, wait a second, that's what Mashiach comes. Like, Mashiach is about things flying off of, like, wacky, supernatural things. That was a lot of what of how we were like with Mashiach. And he says over here, the Rambam doesn't speak about these things at all. The Rambam's focusing on something different. What is the Rambam focusing on? He says, הוא מדבר על נקודה אחת, the end of this second to bottom paragraph, על השלמות בחיי התורה והמצוות שתוחזר על ידי המשיח. When Mashiach comes, he will restore for us one simple thing. You will be able to keep all of Torah and mitzvahs. What does that mean? That's what I'm davening for? That now, like, all the things I can't keep now, when Mashiach comes, I'll be able to keep all of them? So it also makes us wonder, like, do we really understand what the point of a mitzvah is? So Chaya said before, a mitzvah is to get you close to Hashem. We are close to Hashem. And if all the mitzvahs that were given to us are there to bring us close to Hashem, and we're being told right now that Rambam, based on the Rambam, Mashiach is going to give us accessibility to all of Torah, that means we'll have full access to be as close as possible to Hashem. The question is, what don't we have now? Well, how much of Torah are we even able to keep now? Does anyone know? If mitzvahs are all basically the opportunities for us to be close to God, which is why we're sent to this world, we should probably find out how much Torah accessibility do we even have right now. Check this out, you'll be shocked at the next paragraph. הציפייה למשיח מבטאת בראש ובראשונה את משאלתו של יהודי להגיע לשלמות. Shlemus, the word shlemut. Shlemut doesn't just mean I'm complete in my heart with everything that I have and I don't have. Shlemut means that I'm fully utilizing the mitzvahs that Hashem gave me in this world. Hu yodea, a yid knows, שבזמן הזה, the time we're living in, אין אפשרות לקיים את כל דיני התורה. I'm not able to keep all of Torah. What does this mean? לא זו בלבד שיש הפרעות מצד אומות העולם ומצד הדברים הרעים שקיימים בעולם. It's not just because I'm still being tormented by nations and I have distractions that prevent me from fully keeping Torah, אלא שיש חלקים רחבים בתורה ובמצוותיה שאי אפשר כלל לקיימם. There are chunks of Torah that in the time that we're living in, before Mashiach is here, we can't even keep them. For instance, he explains here, this is mind-blowing. מתוך כל תרי"ג המצוות, from the 613 mitzvahs, יש באפשרותנו לקיים 207 מצוות בלבד.
I mean, it makes sense. If you don't have Beit HaMikdash, there's tons of things we just can't do. Literally.
And if every mitzvah is a means to feel close and love, and I'm being told the most you can get before Mashiach comes is a third of it, this kind of begins to change my perspective in understanding what I'm davening for when I'm davening for Mashiach to come. And it also changed my perspective on how much do I honor that which I already have, the mitzvahs that I actually already have, in order to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like, how much do I give? How much are these 207 ways of expressing love, how much are they mamash honored? Like, literally honored and nurtured and cared for in my heart. It puts the shift very differently on what it means to daven for Mashiach to come. Because according to the Rambam, you know what's going to happen when Mashiach comes? You'll have 613 ways to actually feel and express love. That's it. He doesn't talk about the carpets. He doesn't speak about the El Al wings. That's not part of the dance. He continues. כל המצוות הקשורות במלך, בסנהדרין, בבית המקדש, בקורבנות, בשמיטה וביובל, אינן ניתנות ליישום בימינו. These are not things that without Mashiach we could actually do. All these things regarding a king, Sanhedrin, Beis Hamikdash, Korbanot, Shemitah, Yovel, אין זה הבדל כמותי בלבד. We're not just speaking about it's a third versus 2/3. He's saying, כל מערכת החיים היהודית בימינו היא של פרט ולא של אומה. The way that we're even constructing ourselves, our Jewish life is more based on the individual trying to find different ways to feel Jewish. But without Mashiach in the world, for the nation to really feel Jewish as a nation, and I know this is very non-Zionistic, this next, what we just said right now, is nearly impossible without Mashiach coming. The nation as a nation to truly feel Jewish, he says, is almost impossible without the ability to do the mitzvot that you can do with a Beit HaMikdash, with a Melech, with Sanhedrin. That would make the nation feel Jewish. Today we're working so hard on each Jewish home to feel Jewish. With the limited amount of mitzvahs that we could keep without Mashiach in this world. So what are you davening for? You understand? What do you see what what kind of ride he's taking us on over here? What are we doing with this? We're davening for that the nation should have a chance to feel that we talk about Achdut without Mikdash, Melech, Sanhedrin, all these things. Chavre, I don't want to say it's not in the cards. It's just we understand what we're working against. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I was experiencing moving from America to here. I feel like an inkling of that, like a little bit, just because you feel like in America you're constantly trying to integrate Judaism into your life, and it's like just this constant trying, but it doesn't really work for it to feel wholesome. And here, it's like that little taste of it where you really feel like it's integrated into your life, and it's like your whole, it is your life.
Baruch Hashem.
Trying so hard. And so, a little taste of that.
Nachon.
If you take it to
Thank you for the reminder.
If you take it to numbers, America,
Yeah.
Chutz La'aretz,
Yeah.
will be way less than 200.
What's that?
You take it down to numbers, and Chutz La'aretz will be way less than 200.
Why? What other mitzvahs besides Yeshiva Aretz can't they do?
Even Shemitah, there's so much stuff that we do here.
How many?
More.
Right. Meaning
More than less.
it's more than less.
And with
Nachon.
that, we're still lacking so much.
I'm keeping
Yeah.
only one day Chagim, and I like it.
You know that there were Rebbes that they explained that they never moved here because there would be 4 less days of Yontiv.
That's their excuse.
That's their one. They weren't cooking.
Right.
You're talking to women here who are facing a 3-day yontif.
Nachon. So look at the bottom line, second to bottom line. It says over here, Torah beyamenu hi beruba teoretit velo ma'asit. Torah, in its majority today, is theoretical. It's not actual. It's not practical. It's not. When you look at these numbers, you're like, it's mainly theoretical. Yehudi eneno. Now he says like this. When you think of it like this, you're okay with that? You're okay? I'm trying to bring this down to language that we can understand, like more emotionally, not just sichli, but like, are you okay with the fact if you knew that it was forbidden for you in the current situation you have in life to let your children know how much you love them? Like if like a third of the amount of love you wanted to give your children was accessible to you, would you be okay with that, knowing that there could be a way to get to 100% of being able to express to your children how much you love them? Not a chance, right? This is davening for Mashiach. Today, we're working on a third basis, third percentage of clarity, of feeling love and closeness to Hashem. And that's why he says, Yehudi eneno yachol hashlim im matzav kazeh. You cannot. The notion of, well, thank you for the little bit that I have. You have to be thankful. That doesn't do it to a parent that wants to express love and concern for a child. That doesn't work. You can't lashlim im zeh. What's the right word for lashlim? I guess so. Like be okay. Be whole with that. You can't be whole with that. יהודי איננו יכול להשלים עם מצב כזה שבו אי אפשר לממש את התורה בתוך החיים. You can't be okay with the fact that saying, oh, all these things I'm learning, they're just theoretical. You can't be shalem with it. הרי הוא מאמין בתורה ובנצחיותה. I believe in the Torah and it's in eternity. ולא ייתכן שחלק כה גדול ומרכזי בתורה אינו יכול להיות מיושם. It cannot be. That such an integral part of the Torah cannot be meyusam. It can't be done. It can't be implemented. It just can't be. Al ken barur lo. Then it's clear to a Jew. שהמצב הנוכחי הוא מצב זמני בלבד. It's clear to a Jew that this situation that we're in right now is temporary. ובקרוב מאוד, and soon in our days, יוחזרו התנאים שיאפשרו את מימוש התורה ואת כל מצוותיה. When we say Mashiach will come, it means the possibilities and the condition for the Torah to fully be accessible to us will be restored. And now he says like this, you thought you understood what you wanted with Mashiach coming? Zoi be'etzem ha'emunah ha'bsisit bevias HaMashiach. This is the most basic belief in the coming of Mashiach. Meaning what? Emunah behachzarat hashlemut be'kiyum ha'torah va'mitzvot. Mashiach coming, davening for Mashiach to come, he says, it's true, all those other things of people not killing us, that is gewalt. It's great. Highly recommended. You got to stay alive for that to happen. That's not what we're talking about when we're saying, I'm davening for Mashiach to come. Believing in Hashem and believing in the Torah means I believe that everything you told me at Har Sinai, Hashem, and everything from Chazal are ways for me to feel close to you and connected to your Ratzon. Today we're working on a good, clear tzaddik day on a 33% level of a relationship. That's what he's saying over here. When I'm davening for Mashiach to come, what it really means is there'll be accessibility to 100% of transparency between us and feeling the love and feeling the care.
What he's also saying is for all Am Yisrael to feel that way.
Then all of Am Yisrael will feel that way. Because the mitzvahs that we'll be involved with have much more to do with holiness of the klal. That's what he said. The way that the society is set up. Why are we having so much? I think it's crazy. After all these years, you think we couldn't get it together as a unified people, this tiny group of people that like somehow made it still to be alive after thousands of years of being persecuted? It makes perfect sense. Because when we say achdut and all these cute words, we're not meant to be a people that figure out how to get along and live here forever peacefully without the Torah. That's not our Ye'ud. If that's your Ye'ud, if you think that's your destiny, go and set up shop in Northern Ontario. It's massively beautiful there. Quiet. Most people won't bother you. You'll figure it out. That's not the destiny for here. Here, it's the destiny is through the 100%, right now, the 2/3 that are missing of what makes us who we are. It'll never work here to just figure out how to love each other peacefully without the Torah being that markiv. How do you say markiv? That, yeah. It will never, the component, it'll never work. It's not, because it's not our DNA. It's not supposed to be like that here. So davening for Mashiach is that I could actually be here b'shalom, because then I'll be working not just the land, the way the nation will grow and the work we'll be cultivating towards has to do with everyone. And I'll feel the love in like we'll be learning about how you set up an ir miklat for a actually that's a machloket, but any other dry halacha regarding the judicial system, you'll be learning it, you'll be hearing I love you all day long from Hashem while you're working on these types of things. Can you imagine that? That's what it is.
Are you saying also that by having the ability to do all of the mitzvot, that will create achdut and as well have a closeness fully with Hashem?
I'm not saying it. He's saying that, yeah. And I'm sitting here davening over this and saying, yes, Amen, Ken Yiratzon. Yeah. That's what life is about. It's about Torah and mitzvahs, understanding it in the deepest depths. But yeah, that's what life is all about. So now let's finish this. Kol hadvarim hamuflaim sheyeasu al yedei Mashiach, all these wondrous things that will be done by Mashiach, matratam, its purpose, like all these miraculous things, its purpose, lehovil lehasagat shlemut zo b'kiyum haTorah, It's only there, if there'll be a flying carpet, it won't be l'shem showing us, wow, things are supernatural now. It'll only be in order to give us access to keep another mitzvah, more Torah, more love. You know, whenever a bar mitzvah boy comes into the office, I always start off with the same exact word to them. I always say to them, what does bar mitzvah feel like to you? Like the word mitzvah, what does it feel like to you? Because it can mean a few things. So of course the first thing, the most common one, is of course tzav, which means command, mitzvah. But in Hebrew, the mitzvah comes from another word, which is tzavta, tzevet, team. And a bar mitzvah boy's invitation from Hashem is like, for whatever the reason is, now you can join the team. And when you're not on the bench and you're on the team and you're playing, you understand how things work much better. That's what mitzvahs are. That's what a mitzvah is. Tzevet, to be part of the tzavta, to be part of the team. So he's saying over here, anything miraculous that Mashiach does, it's only in order to enhance the team involvement that's waiting for us, that we're working with so little right now. Bitul shiabud malchuyot, when we have shiabud malchuyot stopping, when we stop being subjugated to foreign monarchies, yasir et ha'afraot mitzad umot ha'olam al kiyum ha'torah, we'll be able to keep Torah fully, without ever wondering if anyone's going to have a problem with it. Ma'adanim ka'afar, that's a phrase in Chazal, which means delicacies like dust will be popping up everywhere, will enable Am Yisrael, yafshiru le'Am Yisrael liyot pnuim b'Torah b'chokhmata. All I want to do is learn more and more how to read the love letter, which is called, in our terminology, the Torah, how to crack the code better. You ever get a love letter only from your husband? Don't go to back high school now. Only from your husband's, where it's kind of written in codes, or I don't know, there's like simanim there, and you want to understand it better, v'chulei. Like, this is what the Torah is. This is what the Chatunah was at Har Sinai. We're trying to just decipher the coding every year, better and better, clearer and clearer. When Mashiach comes, that's all we'll have. When it means we'll have the time, it means that we'll have the accessibility and also the non-disruption to be able to spend our time and invest our time in understanding how much Hashem loves us. That's it. Gilui Sodot HaTorah al Yado, Mashiach will come and reveal secrets of Torah. Ya'afsher dvekut amuka yoter b'Kadosh Baruch Hu. It'll enable a deeper level of connection to God. But all of this, v'hakol kedei shetusag shtemut b'Torah v'mitzvot. So I'm just going to read this last paragraph fast. עתה מובן למה האמונה בביאת המשיח היא עיקר בכללות האמונה בתורה ומצוות. יהודי שמאמין בתורה ומצוותיה ויודע שבימינו אי אפשר לקיים רחבים מהתורה ומצוותיה, חייב להאמין שיבוא יום ודבר זה יחזור ויתאפשר. Believing in Mashiach means looking at how much you're able to express and feel love from Hashem and realize, okay, I'm davening for this gullus relationship to end. Thank you for what I have, but I need so much more in life to feel like I'm really alive. Being fully alive, when you feel the love, you're fully alive. When you're in a relationship, you feel like you're alive. The extent that we're in a relationship with Hashem before Mashiach is coming is cute and sweet in comparison to what's waiting for us in a world with Mashiach, where the Torah and its mitzvahs are in its full revelation to us, and we can keep all of them. It should drive us crazy, the number game that we saw before. 207 at the max versus 613. It's nothing. It's nothing. ואדם שתורה וקיום מצוות הם עיקר טעם לחייו. A person that the Torah and keeping mitzvahs is the main reason to be alive, מוכרח להשתוקק ליום שבו יבוא המשיח, must long for the day that Mashiach will come, because when Mashiach comes, יחזיר את האפשרות להגיע לשלמות בקיום התורה ומצוות. Because Mashiach coming restores the possibility to fully keep Torah and mitzvahs. Listen, this piece could raise a lot of discomfort in your davening. Trust me. What could start to become uncomfortable when I'm davening for Geula now? Going back to what Malka said, I think. Because what does it demand of us, this kind of a learning? Like, why would this make anyone uncomfortable? Maybe to admit that we didn't really understand what we were davening for all these years. Then that's okay. That's like an aha moment a little bit. But Bet, why else? I want to hear from you. Why else would this make anyone feel uncomfortable?
You only have to fill a third of something. You feel that you can do it,
Right.
right? Now you're up in the ante big time, and it's can I do it? And if I don't do it, what are the consequences? And as we know in some of the Torah, like if you don't keep Shabbat, it's death. If you don't do, be blasphemized, it's death. Like you said, the story about the guy who went into the mikvah and like all those F-bombs came out, right? Like, if we had Mashiach, what would happen to him when all those F-bombs came out?
Okay. So it's
scary
like,
to
yeah.
have to think what you are going to have to do.
Right.
Scary to
Right.
ask for more responsibility
That's a big one.
when already the responsibility we have is very challenging.
That's a big one. Chana?
I think also that I'm actually finding kind of comfort in this because
Baruch
it's
Hashem.
challenging for me to daven. And this is like, well, I'm sorry, Hashem, it makes sense it's hard for me to daven because I only feel a third of the love.
Exactly.
If I felt so much more, it'd be easier to open up.
So
and
Hashem
talk
is
to
saying,
what I'm asking for.
and what's Hashem
So now
saying to that?
Hashem's saying, okay, so daven for more love for me, for more to be closer to me to love you more, to show you more, to make it more visible miracles, to like really so that everything I look at is like, oh, that's Hashem, that's Hashem. Oh, hey, you're beautiful. Hi, you're Hashem, you're Hashem, you're Hashem. Like just to make it more
That's geva.
accessible,
That's
so that
geva.
davening can be something that's not like I have to do this, but I want to do it.
Which is shtickle gan Eden in this world to get to that place. Malka?
I feel like I gotta clear my name here a little bit. Like I'm all good with Malchut Beit David, with Sanhedrin, with Malkot. I'm ready for everything. The thing that scares me about Mashiach coming is not that I'll have to take on more. It's that I'll have to take on less. What I'm afraid of with Mashiach coming is that to me, what it feels like, and maybe I have a totally wrong conception of what Mashiach is, that's why I came to this class. Because I grapple with the issue of Mashiach, because to me it feels like when I read the story that Hashem wrote of the Jewish people, it feels like a story of people who never like fully get it. And I'm afraid of Hashem having to send somebody, like all the sand runs out of the clock, and Hashem's like, all right, you guys are never gonna get it here. Take this guy, he'll fix it. And I really, like, I believe in the Jewish people and I deeply don't want that. So when we talk about, like, believing in Mashiach coming today and davening for Mashiach to come today, that's what scares me. What scares me is that when we read the beautiful story that Hashem wrote, the end of the story is the Jewish people never figured it out, but Hashem saved them. And I don't want that. And to me, it feels like the work that we put in today to bring Hashem into this world, to fix the wrongs, to convince the Jewish people of where they're supposed to go, to do the things that we didn't manage to get done in the Tanakh, to me, that is the way that I show love to Hashem. And obviously I acknowledge that, of course, we have to do all 613 commandments for Ruhr. But I'm just afraid of getting it as a free gift of like a person who needs a lot of help. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying. I want to ask you a question, though. I want to ask you a question, and I appreciate very much your honesty, and you know that very much. Are you open to the notion that maybe the narrative that you have is not exactly correct regarding... Then come back to the shir. That's all I'm going to say right now. Because I also am not a chassid of your description. So, yes, that's all I'm going to say. Like, if there's an openness to, then we have a lot, Baruch Hashem, a lot, like today was a pretty big chiddush in understanding how much Torah we actually have and kind of like what we're davening for with Mashiach. Like, there's going to be a shift of consciousness, I think, with a lot of the key elements that have to do with redemption, which are very essential to our times. So thank you, Bemet. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll continue with Hashem next week, okay?